There was once a kingdom in which both the king and the minister were idiots. They wanted to be different. So, on a whim one day, they decided to make sweeping changes to the country. First, they decided to turn day into night and night into day. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night, run their businesses, plow their fields, and that they should go to sleep when the sun came up in the morning. The second thing that they did was to decree that everything in the kingdom would cost just one duddu or a rupee. So no matter whether it was a bar of gold or a banana, everything would cost 1 rupee only. Now, if the people protested or if they had a problem with these changes, well, too bad. They had to obey, or else they would be put to death. The people did as they were told because, you see, they were, after all, afraid for their lives. And so the king and the minister were very pleased with the success of their plan, for everything seemed to be working well. One day, a guru or a highly learned person and his disciple arrived in the kingdom. It was a beautiful kingdom, they observed, and it was broad daylight when they came, but there was not a soul in sight. Everyone was fast asleep and not a sound could be heard. The cows and the dogs were asleep too. The two men were amazed by what they saw around them, and they wandered about town till evening, when suddenly the whole town woke up and it came alive and everybody began to go about their daily business. Now the two men were hungry and they found this whole situation rather strange, so they went to an eatery to buy some food. And to their astonishment, they found that everything cost the same, a single duddu or a single rupee. The guru and his disciple were quite delighted, for they had never seen anything like this before. They could buy all the food that they wanted for just 1 rupee. When they had eaten, the guru realized that all was not well with this kingdom, and that the king who ruled them must certainly be a fool to run the kingdom in this way. "This is no place for us. Let's go," he said to his disciple. But his disciple was quite a foodie, didn't want to leave the place. Everything here was cheap and all he wanted was good, cheap food. So the guru said, "Look, these are fools. This is not going to last very long and you can never tell what they might do to you next. So you better come with me." But the disciple was very stubborn. He wanted to stay. "Do what you want. I'm going," said the guru, and he left. The disciple stayed on. He ate his fill every day and grew as fat as a pumpkin. Now, it so happened that one bright day, a thief broke into a rich man's house. He had made a hole in the wall and he sneaked in. And as he was carrying out his loot on his head, the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and killed him on the spot. No, this is not the same wall that the woman brought down with her story. So this man's brother, the burglar's brother, ran to the king and he explained, "Your Highness, my brother, he was pursuing his family trade when a wall fell on him and killed him. This merchant whose house he had gone to burgle is to blame. He should have built a good wall, a good strong wall. You must punish him and compensate the family for this injustice and for this loss." The king listened and said, "Justice will be done, don't worry." And at once he ordered the owner of the house to be brought in. The merchant arrived. "Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house?" asked the king. Yes, my lord. He broke in and the wall was weak. It fell on him and broke. What could I do?" "Your wall has killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man and we have to punish you." "Lord, please, I didn't put up this wall. It's really the fault of the bricklayer who built this wall. You should ask him. He didn't build it right. Please bring him and punish him." "And who is this bricklayer?" asked the king. "My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man who built the wall then. He's an old man now, but he lives nearby." The king sent out messengers to bring the bricklayer who had built the wall. The bricklayer was brought in. "You then, did you build this man's wall in his father's time?" asked the king. The bricklayer bent and said, "Yes, my lord, I did." "Well, you didn't build it well, and it has fallen on a poor man and killed him. Do you know that? You've murdered him, and we have to punish you by death." Please listen to me before you give out your orders, O Lord. It's true that I built this wall, and it was no good, but that was because my mind was not on it that day. "Why? What were you thinking?" asked the king. I remember very well, my lord. There was a beautiful woman who was going up and down that street all day, and with her anklets jingling. And I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. It's her fault. You must get that woman. I know where she lives." "I see. You're right. The case certainly is not as simple as it seems. We must look into it. It is not easy to judge such complicated matters. Let's get that woman, wherever she is," said the king. The woman, now old and bent with age, came trembling to the court. The king looked at the woman and asked, "Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall?" "Yes, my lord. I remember it very well." "Aha, so you did walk up and down with your anklets jingling. You were young and you tempted the bricklayer, and that made him build a bad wall, and now that wall has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You are responsible for the killing of an innocent man, and you will have to be punished." "My lord, please wait. I remember why I was walking up and down that street. I'd given some gold to a goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. But that man, he was such a lazy person. He made me walk up and down so many times. He gave me so many excuses. He said he would give it today, he would give it tomorrow, he would give it now, he would give it later. And so I had to go to his house so many times, and that made me walk up and down the street. And that was when this bricklayer fellow saw me. It's not my fault, oh my lord. It's that damn goldsmith." "Ah, poor thing. She's absolutely right," thought the king, weighing the evidence. But we now seem to have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith, wherever he is hiding, at once." And so the king's men searched for the goldsmith, who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. "My lord, I'm a poor goldsmith. It's true that I made this woman come to my door many times. I gave her many excuses because I couldn't finish making her jewelry. I had to finish a rich merchant's orders who insisted on getting his jewelry first because there was a wedding in his family and he just wouldn't wait. You know how impatient these rich men are. It's not my fault, my lord. Aha. And who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry, which made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall, which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him? Can you name that man? Who is he? Asked the king. The goldsmith named the merchant, who was none other than the original owner of the house where the wall had fallen. Now, justice had come full circle. Back to the merchant. Now, he was rudely summoned back to the court, and he arrived crying. Oh Lord, it's not me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead and I am innocent. Please spare me. But the king consulted his minister and he gave a decision. It's true that your father is the true murderer. He is dead, but somebody must be punished in his place. You've inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches, and now his sins as well. I knew at once when I first set my eyes on you that you were at the root of this horrible, horrible crime, and now you must die. In those days, men were put to death at the stake. So the king ordered a new stake to be made ready for the execution. And suddenly, it occurred to the minister that this rich merchant, although he was prosperous, was fairly thin to be properly executed by the stake. Oh Lord, the stake will not go through this man properly, for he is much too skinny. The king saw reason and indeed began to worry about it. What shall we do? Yes, let's get a fat man. And so servants were immediately sent all over town to look for a man who would fit the stake. And who should their eyes fall upon than the very disciple of the Guru who had fattened himself for months on bananas and ghee and rice and wheat. What wrong have I done? I'm innocent, he cried. That may be true, but it's the royal decree that we should find a fat man to fit the stake, the guard said, and carried him to the palace for his execution. The disciple remembered his wise guru's words. This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do to you next. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his guru and chanted, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. He pleaded to his guru to hear his cry wherever he was. And with his magical powers, the guru saw everything in a vision. He could see near, he could see far, he could see into the future, he could see into the past, and he could see into the present. The guru arrived at once to save his disciple who had gotten himself into trouble again because of his gluttony. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and he told him something in a whisper. And then he went to the king and addressed him. O wise king, who is greater, the guru or the disciple? Of course the guru. No doubt about it. Or why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple to death after me. When the disciple heard this, he caught on. He knew where his guru was going with this. No. Me first. You brought me here first. Put me to death first. Not my guru. No. Please. The guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first. The king was rather puzzled by this behavior and he asked the guru, why do you want to die? We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you the secret, O Lord? asked the Guru. The king gave him his solemn word, and the Guru took him aside, out of his servant's earshot, and whispered to him, "Do you know why we want to die right now? The two of us. You see, we are poor ascetics and we've been all over the world, but we've never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is a stake of God, for it's new and it has not been used before. It has never had a criminal on it. So whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country, and whoever goes next will be the future minister. We are sick of this life. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death. Me first, remember." The king was now thrown into deep, deep thought. He didn't want to lose the kingdom to someone else, even if it were in the next birth. He needed time. So he postponed the execution to the next day. And then he talked in secret with his minister. "It's not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life. Let's go up to the stake ourselves and we'll be reborn as king and minister again. Holy men like this one, they do not tell lies," said the king. And the minister gladly agreed. And so he told the executioners, "We'll send the criminals when it's pitch dark. Do not try to light a fire. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first, and then do the same to the second man. Do you understand? These are orders. Don't make any mistakes." That night, they went secretly to the prison. They released the Guru and his disciple, and they disguised themselves as the Guru and the disciple, and they had arranged beforehand with their loyal servants that they were to be taken to the stake and promptly executed. The next day, everyone realized what had happened when they saw the bodies of the king and the minister. The entire city was in pandemonium. The people mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the Guru and the disciple who were busy leaving the kingdom. But they called them back and said, "We people need a king and a minister." And the others agreed. They begged the Guru and the disciple, "Please, please be our king, be our minister." But the Guru was above all of this, and he declined. Instead, he told the people to choose a leader from amongst themselves. But he did ask them to promise him one thing. He said, "Whoever becomes king will turn night into night and day into day and fix the right prices for things, not just a rupee." And so it was. Soon the kingdom became a normal place.